What if the person who wrecked you was sent by God? Let that question land for a moment, not as some abstract spiritual concept, but as the visceral reality you've been living. The sleepless nights, the synchronicities that still make your breath catch, the way your body remembers their energy like a forgotten language. You've been conditioned to believe that if a love is real, it must follow the script. Meet, merge, live happily ever after. But twin flames laugh in the face of scripts. They're the universe's way of handing you a mystery wrapped in lightning, then whispering, "Solve this, and you'll solve yourself." Here's what no one prepares you for. The most profound soul connections aren't always the ones that stay. Some arrive like celestial storms, rupturing your sky, rearranging your atmosphere, then vanishing just as suddenly. And in their wake, you're left clutching two irreconcilable truths. This love was sacred, and it wasn't enough to keep them here. The cognitive dissonance alone could power a small city. But what if that tension isn't a glitch? What if it's the exact alchemical friction required to transmute your leaden attachments into golden wisdom? I've walked this path myself, through the obsessive decoding of signs, the bargaining with the universe, the humbling moment when I realized my twin flame wasn't a destination, but a catalyst. Like a human defibrillator, they jump-started parts of my soul that had flatlined under the weight of past hurts and small stories. Their absence wasn't punishment. It was the necessary vacuum for my becoming. And that's the brutal beauty of this journey. It will break your heart, but never your spirit. It will strip you bare, but only to reveal the gold leaf hidden under all that protective varnish. So let's abandon the fairy tales and get real. This isn't about convincing the universe to give you what you think you want. It's about discovering that what you actually needed was hidden in the wreckage all along. Not a person, but a version of yourself so fiercely alive, so unshakably whole, that no absence could ever diminish your light again. Ready to unravel the divine paradoxes that make twin flames both heaven and hell. What comes next might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about love's true purpose. You ever meet someone and feel like lightning just rewired your entire nervous system? Like your soul woke up from a 1,000-year nap, rubbed its eyes, and went, "Oh, it's you." And then, just as suddenly, they're gone, vanished, leaving you standing there holding a heart that's half ecstasy, half ache, wondering if you hallucinated the whole thing. Here's the cosmic joke, darling. Not every soul-shaking connection is meant to stay. Some people enter your life like a meteor, blazing, brilliant, altering the atmosphere forever, then burn up in the descent. That doesn't mean they weren't real. It means their purpose wasn't to orbit you forever. It was to collide with you, to shift your axis, to leave craters where old versions of you used to stand. Think of them like spiritual nitroglycerin. Unstable, volatile, necessary. You don't build a house with dynamite. You use it to blast through rock so the foundation can be laid. Your twin flame might be the explosion that clears the rubble of your past, so something new can finally be built. We've been sold this idea that twin flames are destined for union, that if you just heal enough, love hard enough, surrender deeply enough, you'll get your fairy tale ending. But what if the fairy tale was never about riding off into the sunset, What if it was about burning down the castle you thought you needed? I've worked with clients who spent years chasing reunion, like it was the only proof their love mattered. Meanwhile, their actual life, their creativity, their joy, their connection to God was on pause, waiting, begging, bargaining. And then one day, exhausted, they finally asked, what if this pain wasn't a detour? What if it was the path? Let's get brutally honest. Some twin flames are soul assignments, not soulmates. They're the universe's way of handing you a syllabus titled Advanced Spiritual Growth Crash Course Edition. Maybe they arrived to dismantle your fear of abandonment. Maybe they left so you'd stop outsourcing your worth to another person. Maybe their absence is the lesson, teaching you that love isn't something you lose, but something you carry. You ever notice how some of the most profound spiritual teachers in history weren't exactly settled down? Rumi's beloved Shams disappeared, some say murdered. Mary Magdalene's story was rewritten by politics. Even Plato's Symposium, that ancient ode to soul connections, ends with Socrates shrugging at dawn, saying love isn't about possession, but participation. Your twin flame might be the same, a fleeting, furious participation in something divine. A reminder that the most sacred relationships aren't always the ones that last, but the ones that change you irrevocably. Here's where it gets messy. You don't get to choose if they stay. You only get to choose what you do with the wreckage and the wisdom. I've seen clients transform their twin flame grief into art, activism, healing practices. One woman channeled her longing into founding a nonprofit for trauma survivors. Another wrote a novel that became a lifeline for thousands. Their twin flames weren't gone. They'd just become the kindling for something bigger. So tell me, love, what if your twin flame wasn't your destination, but the wind that forced your sails open? What if their leaving wasn't a failure of fate, but the universe whispering, you're ready to fly solo now? And hey, if you're still clutching that mental image of reunion like a lottery ticket, don't worry. We'll talk about divine timing later. But first, let's talk about the mirrors that crack us wide open. Keep reading. You know that feeling when you meet someone and the universe starts blasting trumpets, throwing confetti, screaming, "This is the one," only for the whole thing to crash and burn 6 months later like a failed firework? Yeah, welcome to the cosmic prank known as the false twin flame. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Not every soulquake is a twin flame. Some are just spiritual earthquakes, messy, destabilizing, but ultimately there to reshape your inner landscape so you rebuild stronger. Imagine you're a knight training for a holy quest. Before you're handed the real sword, you're given a wooden one. You swing it around, thinking it's the real deal, until it snaps mid-battle. That's the false twin flame. A test run, a divine drill to see if you'll mistake intensity for destiny, chemistry for cosmic purpose. These connections mirror the symptoms of twin flames, the synchronicities, the magnetic pull, the sense of knowing, but they lack the substance. They're like spiritual junk food, addictive in the moment, but leaving you malnourished in the long run. Here are 3 red flags of a fake, significant other. They flood you with attention, then vanish into the void, hot and cold like a broken thermostat. A real twin flame triggers growth. A false one triggers abandonment wounds to see if you'll chase crumbs. They feel familiar, because they are, just not in the way you think. Maybe they're an old soul contract from a past life, the kind where you agreed to learn lessons, not ride into sunset. True twin flames reflect your highest self back to you. False ones reflect your hunger, your unmet needs, your loneliness, your if only I fix them, shall heal them, wait long enough fantasies. Let's get real. The false twin flame isn't a villain. They're a mirror with a crack in it. That crack? Your own boundaries. Your willingness to confuse pain for passion. Your habit of romanticizing red flags as divine tests. I've had clients swear they met their twin flame, only to realize years later, that wasn't my twin, that was my teacher. And what did they teach? How to walk away when love feels like a hostage situation. How to stop mistaking potential for promise. That the most spiritual thing you can do is say, this no longer serves me, even if your ego screams it's giving up on destiny. Here's the secret. False twins aren't mistakes. They're preparation. The universe isn't cruel, it's thorough. It won't hand you a sacred union until you can spot and reject the knockoffs. Think of it like this. You wouldn't trust a master chef who burned every meal, or a pilot who kept crashing flight simulators. Why would the universe trust you with a twin flame if you're still willing to settle for a twin imposter? So tell me, brave soul, what if this heartbreak isn't the end of your story, but the prologue? What if the false twin was just the universe's way of whispering, you're worth more than this. Now act like it. And hey, if you're sweating right now thinking, was mine real? Don't panic. The next section's all about decoding the difference. Keep reading, detective. Let's talk about the messy, unglamorous part of twin flames that nobody posts about on Instagram. The part where it feels like the universe handed you a soulmate and then said, psych, now go heal your baggage first. You meet them. The world tilts. Colors are brighter. Music sounds deeper. You're convinced this is it. Until suddenly, it's not. They vanish. Or they stay, but act like an emotional Rubik's Cube you can't solve. And you're left wondering, if this is divine love, why does it hurt so damn much? You see, twin flames aren't just lovers. They're spiritual sandpaper. They rub against every unhealed wound, every buried insecurity, every past life betrayal you swore you'd forgotten. And the separation? That's not punishment. That's the universe saying, you can't build a sacred union on a foundation of old pain. Go fix your side first. Think of karma like an invisible tab at a soul-level bar. Past versions of you racked up charges, heartbreaks, betrayals, unfinished business, and now the universe is calling in the bill. Your twin flame. They're the bartender sliding you the receipt with a sympathetic wince. Maybe in another life, you were the one who left. Maybe they were the martyr, and you the runaway. Maybe you both swore oaths that went unfulfilled. The details don't matter as much as the energy, the unresolved residue that clings to your soul like static. And until you clear it, you'll keep replaying the same fights, the same fears, the same, why can't we just make this work? Loop. Ever notice how twin flame dynamics often mirror a cosmic game of tag? One bolts, the runner, the other follows, the chaser. But here's the twist. Both are running from the same thing, themselves. The runner isn't afraid of you. They're afraid of what you reveal in them. The chaser isn't in love with them. they're in love with the idea of being chosen. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, won't let you two play house until you've both sat in the fire of your own making and asked, what part of this pain is mine to heal? Separation isn't abandonment, it's incubation. Imagine you're a caterpillar in a cocoon, and your twin flame is the butterfly who already emerged. If they ripped open your chrysalis too soon, you'd never grow wings. That's why divine timing forces distance, because love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. And yeah, it sucks. It's lonely. It feels like carrying a torch through a tunnel with no end in sight. But here's the secret. The darkness is where the gold is. Every night you spend wrestling with your shadows, every tear you shed over their absence, every "why won't they just text me back?" is another layer of karmic dust being scrubbed clean. Karma's like a toddler. The more you chase it, the more it runs. But sit still, it'll crawl into your lap when you least expect it. So if you're knee-deep in the "why can't we be together" spiral, try this instead. What if this pain is the exact tuition I need to pay for the love I truly want? Want to know the wildest part? The moment you stop seeing separation as a curse and start treating it like sacred soul work, the universe starts rearranging itself in ways you can't even imagine. But that's a story for the next chapter. Keep reading, brave soul. The best is yet to come. You know that moment when you're white, knuckling the steering wheel of your life, convinced you must make this relationship work, must force this connection, must orchestrate the reunion, only to realize you're not driving the car at all? You're in the back seat, and the universe has been navigating the whole time. Here's the radical truth. The more you cling, the more you delay the miracle. Let's be honest, you've tried everything. Manifesting, praying, stalking their social media like it's the morning news. Maybe you've even bargained with the universe. If I heal this one last wound, will you give them back? But what if the lesson isn't about getting them? What if it's about releasing the need to possess love, to trust it's yours? Think of it like holding a bird. Squeeze too tight, it suffocates. Open your hand completely, it might stay. But the real magic, realizing you don't need the bird to prove the sky exists. Surrender isn't resignation. It's not waving a white flag at love. It's dropping the mental script of how this should look and whispering, I trust you, God, universe, even if this ache never makes sense to me. I've seen clients transform their twin flame journey the moment they stopped waiting and started living. One woman launched a business she'd postponed for when we reunite. Another finally took that solo trip to Bali, only to meet her twin flame there after she'd stopped obsessing over it. Coincidence? Hardly. Divine timing? Absolutely. Here's the kicker. The universe isn't withholding your twin flame to punish you. It's protecting the purity of your connection. Imagine two magnets. If you force them together sideways, they repel. But align them properly. Click. No effort. That's the difference between human striving and divine flow. Your desperation creates resistance. Your surrender creates resonance. This is where it gets beautiful. That gnawing void you're trying to fill with answers. It's not a mistake. It's the crucible of faith. Every sleepless night wondering, why can't we be together, is polishing your trust. Every tear is dissolving the ego's demand for guarantees. Every moment you choose peace over panic is rewriting your soul's contract with fear. You're not being abandoned, you're being upgraded. Want to know a secret? True union begins the day you stop needing it to happen. Not in a "I've given up" way, but in a "I'm complete with or without this" way. Because here's the sacred math. Desperation plus divine love equals oil plus water, wholeness, plus divine love equals lightning plus sky. So tell me, brave soul, what if this separation isn't a test of your patience, but of your faith? What if the universe is waiting for you to relax your grip so it can hand you something better than your imagination has dared to conceive? And if your mind just screamed, "But how?" Don't worry, the next chapter's all about decoding divine timing. Keep reading, Truster of Miracles. You know that raw, howling place inside you that wakes up at 3 a.m. whispering, "Why does this still hurt so much?" That ache you can't outrun, out-yoga, or out-manifest. Good. You found it, the sacred wound. Not a mistake, not punishment, a portal. Let's get real. Society treats pain like a glitch in the system. Pop a pill, scroll faster, numb out. But what if your twin flame agony isn't something to fix, but something to feel all the way through? Like gold being purified in fire, what if this pain isn't destroying you, but distilling you? I've walked this path myself, that first year after separation, where I vacillated between divine trust and screaming into pillows. Then one exhausted morning it hit me. This isn't a detour. This is the path. The tears, holy water, the longing, a homing device. Think of your sacred wound like this. You're a seed that's outgrown its shell. The splitting hurts like hell, but the alternative? Remaining a seed forever. That phantom limb sensation when you reach for someone who's not there. It's your soul growing a new way of loving. The dreams where they appear just to vanish upon waking. Your subconscious rehearsing surrender. The way songs, memories, random coffee orders still ambush you. The universe whispering, this pain has purpose. Here's what the spiritual memes won't tell you. Depth requires dissolution. Rumi didn't write ecstatic poetry in a cushy palace. He bled verses after Shams disappeared. Khalil Gibran's The Prophet emerged from heartbreak. Even the phoenix myth. Rebirth requires burning first. Your twin flame isn't cruel for leaving. They're initiating you. Every tear is etching wisdom into your DNA. Every sleepless night is rewiring your capacity for faith. Here's the wild part. The more you stop resisting this pain, the quicker it transforms. Not because you manifested better, but because you finally understood it. That ache in your chest, it's not a hole. It's a hornet's nest of divine love, stinging you awake to truths you'd sleep through otherwise. So tell me, wounded healer, what if this isn't the price you're paying, but the tuition? What if the universe isn't asking you to endure this pain, but to enroll in its teachings? And if your mind just muttered, but how long? Hold tight. The final chapter reveals why your timeline is perfect, even when it's excruciating. Keep reading, Phoenix. You've been conditioned to believe that love stories must end with two people walking into the sunset, hand in hand, credits rolling. But darling, what if your twin flame journey isn't a Hollywood script? What if it's more like sacred origami, every fold, every crease, every seemingly painful bend, transforming you into something breathtaking, even if the final shape isn't what you expected. Let's get brutally honest. You've been measuring your entire spiritual evolution against one thing: reunion. Every meditation, every healing session, every tear-soaked journal entry, secretly bargaining with the universe. If I do this right, will you give them back? But here's the cosmic curveball. What if you already won? Not because you manifested a fairy tale, but because you learned to love without possession. You discovered strength in surrender. You realized joy isn't a destination. It's the texture of your awakening. Think of twin flames like spiritual thunderstorms. The lightning isn't there to give you light. It's to ionize the atmosphere so new growth can emerge. That relationship that didn't work out, it worked exactly as intended. The separation that shattered you, it made space for your soul to expand. The longing that ached, it taught you love isn't something outside you. It's what you're made of. The synchronicity that still startle you, proof you're forever connected beyond 3D limits. Society says a successful relationship equals longevity plus romance plus happily ever after. But the soul says success is becoming so whole that their presence is a bonus, not oxygen, loving them and your life without them simultaneously. Recognizing the journey didn't lead you to God, Source. It was God, Source in drag. A client once wept, "I wasted 7 years waiting." I asked, "Did you? Or did you spend 7 years being sculpted into someone who can now hold real miracles?" Here's what the gurus won't tell you. Some twin flames are like human comets. They blaze through your life not to stay, but to ignite something in you that will outlast every timeline, every lifetime, every concept of together. Your tears weren't wasted. Your longing wasn't foolish. That indescribable bond, it's still doing its sacred work, just not in the Hallmark movie way you expected. So tell me, divine alchemist, what if your twin flame journey was never about getting somewhere, but becoming someone? What if the real reunion was always with the parts of you this love unearthed? And if your heart just whispered, "But what now?" Stay tuned. The epilogue reveals how to walk this wisdom into your daily life. Keep reading, beloved architect of miracles. Let's cut right to the chase, beautiful soul. You've been sold a lie, a big, glittery, spiritually bypassed lie. The one that whispers, your twin flame is your missing half. Here's the cosmic plot twist. You were never half a soul to begin with. Think about it. Why would the universe, in all its infinite wisdom, create you incomplete? Like some kind of divine jigsaw puzzle left on the celestial coffee table. Number, you weren't born with a soul gap that only one other person in all of time and space could fill. That's not love. That's spiritual amnesia. We've all heard the story, the ancient tale of souls split in two, doomed to wander until they find their other half. It's poetic. It's romantic. And honestly, it's kind of a cop-out. Because here's what they don't tell you. Your twin flame isn't the other half of your soul. They're the mirror of your wholeness. When you look at them, you don't see what's missing. You see what's already there, reflected back at you in high definition. Their presence doesn't complete you, it confirms you. And that's why it feels so damn electric, because for the first time, you're meeting yourself at full volume. The universe has a wicked sense of humor. It dangles this irresistible connection in front of you. This person who feels like home, like destiny, like finally, and then pulls the rug out. Wait, what? You showed me my soul's mirror, and now we can't be together. Is this some kind of cosmic joke? Oh, it's a joke, all right. But the punchline is this. You were never meant to merge with them. You were meant to recognize yourself through them. They're not the destination. They're the signpost, the flare gun, the spiritual bat signal that lights up the sky and says, hey, remember who you are. Let's get real. Believing someone completes you is spiritual heroin. It feels amazing at first, euphoric even. But the crash? Brutal. Because when you think your wholeness lives outside of you, you hand over your power like it's a rental car. Here, drive my happiness, park my purpose, fill up my worth on your way back, would you? But your twin flame isn't your mechanic. They're not here to fix you. They're here to show you that you were never the broken one to begin with, just the one who forgot how to read the owner's manual. Ready for the big secret? The reason you can't get over your twin flame isn't because they're the one. It's because they're the mirror. And mirrors don't disappear when you walk away. They just wait for you to come back and take another look. That ache you feel, it's not loneliness. It's your soul waving a giant flag that says, hey, you, yeah, you, quit searching out there and come meet me right here. Here's the wildest part. The moment you stop seeing your twin flame as the missing piece and start seeing them as the reminder, is the moment you realize the love you've been chasing was inside you all along. And guess what? That's when the real magic starts. But that's a story for another day. So, you stand now at the edge of a revelation, not because you've found all the answers, but because you've learned to live magnificently inside the questions. That relentless ache for reunion, it wasn't a mistake. It was the universe's way of teaching you a sacred paradox. The deepest love stories aren't measured in togetherness, but in transformation. Think of your twin flame journey like a celestial breadcrumb trail. Each tear, each sleepless night, each moment you thought you couldn't survive. They weren't signs you were failing. They were proof you were being forged. Like carbon pressed into diamond, what felt like pressure was actually the universe whispering, "You're capable of holding more light than you ever imagined." You know, Van Gogh never signed his paintings because he believed true art was alive, always evolving, never complete. Your twin flame connection is like that. The lack of closure isn't a glitch. It's the genius of the design. An eternal invitation to keep growing, keep loving, keep becoming. Let's be clear, this wasn't some cosmic bait and switch. That electric, soul-shaking connection, it was real. The synchronicities, they meant something. The way your heart still recognizes theirs across time and space. That's the whole point. But somewhere along the way, you were sold the idea that love is only valid if it fits inside a neat little box labeled happily ever after. Meanwhile, the universe has been trying to show you. Real love is wildfire. It transforms everything it touches, then becomes the fertile soil for what grows next. So here's my question for you, brave soul. What if, instead of measuring this journey by who stayed or who left, you measured it by who you became? the way your compassion deepened, the way your intuition sharpened, the way you learned to love without possession, to hope without demand, to trust without evidence. That's not a consolation prize. That's the treasure. Well, if this journey has taught you anything, it's that love isn't something you find. It's something you are. And whether your twin flame walks beside you in this lifetime or not, one thing is certain. They already gave you the greatest gift, the unshakable knowing that love like this exists. And from here, darling, the horizon is wide open.